Greetings, bald travelers. This is the last day of our 2024-2025 New Year's holiday trip. We're in Perth. We arrived yesterday on the Indian Pacific. We're here in Perth for a little less than 24 hours before we fly back to Melbourne. But I thought I'd get one walk in here in Perth. So starting near our hotel, walking across this riverfront park, I'll swing over. You can see the Perth skyline there. And we're walking along the riverfront here down to the one of the keys here in or quay here in Perth, and then we'll walk by the this Western Australia Supreme Court building. Perth is in the far west of Australia. It's actually closer to Singapore than Sydney or Canberra. And a lot of the flights from Europe, especially the non-stop flights from Europe, will come here to Perth, whereas most of the ones from the US will land in Sydney because it's closer than any other of the major cities in Australia to North and South America. So we will hop over really quick. Make sure no one is coming. And then we will drop down onto the walking path after the bikers go by.
But even though my swing is not great.
So I'll walk along the waterfront here. So some facts about Perth and Western Australia. They are separated from the rest of Australia by the Nullarbor Plain, which we crossed over on the train yesterday. So there is sufficient biodiversity between Western Australia and the rest of Australia, because literally nothing except for some small shrubs grows on the Nullarbor. And so anything from Eastern Australia would need to be trucked in or imported in, and they have strict biodiversity controls here in Perth to prevent anything really that they don't want coming from anywhere else in Australia. A lot of people in Australia come to retire here in Perth because it does have a very moderate climate, 20s, 30s, very low humidity being on the west coast. And everybody I've talked to is like, yeah, when I retire, I'm going to Perth. That won't be the case for Mrs. Bald Traveler or I. You'll get a taste of our planned retirement if you watch our Thailand videos that I've put up, and the videos from our upcoming trip in a couple months to the Philippines. Our first initial retirement will be to one of those two locations for a few years, just to allow us to continue to explore Southeast Asia and get into the groove of being retired. But like a lot of Australian cities, This is a very nice, you know, walkable section, a lot of parklands. It's one thing I've noticed, and I hope you've noticed in the videos, is, you know, just the walkability of the cities that we've been in here in Australia. So I will go ahead and stop talking for now and just let you enjoy the sights of Perth, Australia.
You could say, does she know that you asked for it?
Yeah. I'm so surprised. You guys haven't actually told me anything yet. I just know I'm going.
So this is getting into the Central Business District.
Split 1. Split pace, 12 minutes, 58 seconds per kilometre.
We'll hang a left here, check out Elizabeth Quay a little bit, and then hang a right, go past the Supreme Court, and then we'll see how far into the CBD we go. We'll go a little bit into the CBD before I shut you off and head back to my hotel to pack up and get ready to fly back to Melbourne later today. I like to film these videos in the morning because there's not as many people out. So, especially in places like downtown Lisbon where I've shot in the morning, in Melbourne and such, it's easier to film and not get jostled around in the morning hours. I do film some during various parts of the day just so you see how crowded it can get in certain areas. But to give you a sense of what it looks like, I like to film during the morning when there's not as many people up and about, especially in your area. Over here on our left, we've got Rot's Nest Express. Rot's Nest Island is a location I really wanted to go to. It's just the boats didn't line up with my flight schedule for today, and I have to get back to Melbourne today so I can get back to work. But the Rot's Nest Island is where and you can see it there on the door, the friendliest and happiest animals in the world live. But you can take a ferry over. They have like 3 ferries in the morning that take you over, and then 3 ferries in the afternoon, with the last one now being 7:30, 8 o'clock. It used to be the last ferry was 5 o'clock, but you can literally spend the entire day on the island, which, as I understand it, is a nature preserve. So we'll head now from Elizabeth Quay up past the Supreme Court building and then go to towards the CBD for a little bit. I'm not quite sure what this building is, but it is unique. It's shaped almost like a sail. So let's see if it says what it is. I assume it's a information center or museum or something. I'll try to look it up and then put some information about it down below on a lower third. Oh, we must get the obligatory Perth sign. do the great Aussie tradition of jaywalking when there are no cars. We'll take a quick walk through the Supreme Court Gardens here, and then go past the Supreme Court building, and then head into the CBD a little bit. There's more gardens here on the other side of the Supreme Court. Looks like it has some more flora and fauna in it. I just don't know if they go where I want to go, so we'll just continue on the street. I believe Western Australia is the largest state or territory in Australia. I know it goes the entire length or width of Australia from north to south. So I guess that'd be length north to south. And then it does go west to east a great deal. It looks like we could have gotten out. Good to know for future walks. If you're paying attention on that bus, you got to see how the ball traveler waits for traffic lights. Again, we'll go at least halfway. And then finish it off. One thing I've noticed in my short time here in Perth is that the crosswalks are a lot more four-way crosswalks than I've seen anywhere else in Australia. Sydney, Cairns, even especially Melbourne, where I spent most of my time. You know, they'll go with the flow of traffic for the crosswalks. Oh, here's a Justice Center over here with a sculpture. Interesting. Oh, and this is the Supreme Court now of Western Australia. So that must be the old Supreme Court back there where the park is. But here in Perth, they seem to have a more four-way intersections. I know of only one really in Melbourne, and it's really more of a three-way intersection at Flinders Street Station and Elizabeth Street. And go. One thing I've noticed so far, I was looking for a coffee shop this morning to get after this walk. Maybe I could have stopped along, the way. And there are definitely less coffee shops here in Perth than there is in Melbourne. And a lot of them are closed for New Year's. They won't open until tomorrow, which is Monday. So I'm on the hunt for a coffee shop for some brekkie and a good flat white to get me going this morning. Not that these walks don't get me going, but I like that little extra perk and pick me up.
Split 2. Split pace, 13 minutes, 14 seconds per kilometre.
So there's a walking arcade this way. I think we'll go ahead and take a quick walk down the walking arcade, and then we'll end the video there. It looks like it's not too long, so we'll walk to the end of the walking arcade here. So I just wanted to take this time for those of you, one sec. Oh, sorry. So I just want to take this time for those of you who stayed to the end of the video here. Hope you had a good 2024. Wish you a good and happy 2025. And if you could just leave a comment down below what you plan to do for 2025. I'd enjoy reading them, just see what everybody's plans are, travel-wise, life in general. It's all interesting to me. I'll come up with some videos a little bit later in the year, kind of what my official 2025 plans are long-term, and then beyond. So once I've finalized a couple of the visas and stuff, we'll go from there. But yeah, this is a nice little walking area. Reminds me of some other places in Melbourne CBD. Looks like there's an information kiosk here. So if you wanted to get some information on Perth, you head there. It's not open yet, or I would stop and see what they had. But we're coming up here towards what looks like the end. Perth also has some nice beaches that I unfortunately won't get to this trip, but maybe I'll be able to come back and enjoy the beaches. I'm moving over here to the side because the police are dealing with some people with a grievance and are listening to them and trying to find a solution, which is kind of unique here in Australia, and that, you know, as opposed to the US, where the police spend more time listening to people and trying to find a solution rather than trying to move people on or arresting people. Now, they will arrest you if you do something or if you breach the peace, but if you've just got a complaint or you're not quite there mentally, they will just talk to you, and they will check on you. Like in Sydney, I saw them checking on people living rough or homeless out on the side of the street. They'll stop, they'll have a quick chat with them, see if they need anything. So that's kind of nice. But we'll go ahead and end it here.
Exercise ring closed.
Come around. Remember, my friends, travel boldly and have a happy 2025.